welcome back. This is the Flashpup 25 cal tune, part 3. I will just go over... Alright, here's the thing. I didn't bring it and do it on the Bridgeport. I did choose to do it by hand. Cordless. I've done this way before. Everything came out beautiful. Everything is chamfered nice. I'll show you guys here in a minute. The barrel itself had 180 thousandths transfer hole. It is now 192, and this camera is actually up a little high. But as you can see, it has a nice, beautiful chamfer on it. Camera's just trying to... But I marked it. It looks bigger than... I don't know why. But it has a nice chamfer on it. It's about 192 now, so about 12 thousandths larger than before. You know what? I'm going to take this phone down and be easier. Okay. So, as you can see with the drill bit, I did not hit the other side. I'll show you some of the tools of the trade here. I marked it with the tape. It was in the receiver at the time. This barrel was locked in place, so I would have one continuous hole. And I just went all the way through to my tape mark, through the barrel and through the transfer port itself. So this is now 162 thousandths. So that's much better than the 116 thousandths it was before. Like I said, I've already opened this up to about 180 on my Hatsan Flash, but I want to try this. See if there goes a little faster with a smaller port. And if not, I'll take it apart and I'll open it up to 180. I did use... Whoops. Yeah, I don't know where it went. But when I did this, I had to be careful cleaning inside. I worked as a machinist for almost 10 years. I have a lot of machinist stuff. This little sucker right here is for deburring on holes or edges. You just run it across. So I ran that in there. Another nice little item is a chainsaw file. The finer, the better. And I just break it off, and you can get in the hole. This works really excellent. Oh, there's my $10 set I got from Walmart. It's just a nice little assortment here. Buffing wheels, buffing and everything I'll save for the trigger work. But I used the larger bit after I went through. And, this is just so hard you can't really show anything. I apologize. It's just very difficult trying to do this here. All right. So in there, I came down through the top with the bigger bit and just hit the surface there. So that would provide a nice chamfer to there. This came up into here. And all I did also, where is it? I rolled up some 800 grit paper and just sent it in there. Made sure there was no burrs. The way I check for burrs, cotton swab. If you see any of the hairs getting caught on any of the holes, it means there's a piece of steel hanging down or a sliver. You don't want that. You got to keep going until you get it. No hairs are pulled off in there. I cleaned it up good. Just another little trick of the trade. Not really a trick, but just to help you out. So that's all said and done. This is about 161, 162 now. I can put this back. Now, all right, so I may have went over a little bit what I was aiming for, but the air tube was 150 thousandths. Now this is 210 thousandths. And you can see the size of the hole compared to what it was before. So this will have no issue letting air pass out. It does look rough in the camera. I do apologize that. I promise you that it's not though. The outside has a nice chamfer. Still away from the O-rings. One's a little close, but just gotta take your time. Needle went back in. I didn't, as I said, I wanted to massage the needle itself. I didn't have the right adapter, and I'm not going to mess with it right now. But I also, with the spring inside, I'm going to mess with that. Increase the pressure and decrease the pressure of that spring. Or find a weaker spring and just see the effects of that. I know it'll hold open longer. It'll waste more air if I go weaker, but I just want to try a little experiment. But definitely harder. I've done that to my AT44. I put a spacer in the spring. With the regulator, it makes a big difference. But yeah, I'm talking 210 on the airflow from here. Of course, all that airflow doesn't matter because this is your restriction right here at 160. And I just lost that. Let me plug in my phone. Sorry, it takes so long to download videos that kind of used all the juice up. Okay, anyways, I just wanted to show you guys all that. Everything's cleaned out. I blew this out, but all the chips still get in there, and I will be disassembling this anyways. So I'm going to thoroughly clean it, make sure no more chips are left in there. One thing I did want to mention on the barrel, inside there is an O-ring, and that is for the probe, O-ring probe seal. So do not go sticking anything such as a file inside to try to knock off this stuff. Try to get it from the inside out, as I did, and this bit actually chamfers the inside and breaks off all that flashing very well. So I know this is very good and cleaned up. Okay, anyways, let's get back to the receiver. This was already explained. Some people haven't watched my other videos, so I am just going to run through this. I shouldn't have put that away. Not quite yet. And I just had it in my hand 2 seconds ago. I will not kid you. Okay. Here, I'm going to move this over here so I actually can see that I am in focus. Okay, have my receiver here. I'll flip it up this way. As you can see, in between, this is your cover that screws on for your hammer spring adjustment. I'm going to okay, it's not cocked, it was just pushed back. Anyways, I take the pressure off the hammer spring. Right here there is a set screw. I open that set screw, take that set screw out, and I will put that. Be careful of parts just dropping out, I should say. My Hatsan Flash was a little easier. That's why I usually do this stuff ahead of time, because new guns are always a pain in the butt. And you just waste time doing it. But once you do it once, it goes pretty easy. Okay, before I go taking this out, I'm going to look. And whenever you take a gun apart, make a video, take pictures so you can reference it. It's just that much easier. So I got one, two, I can see two threads right here on the side. So that's how I know where I'm gonna set this again and putting it how deep in. I swear, I think I'm just going to get camera glasses and just wear them. And that'll eliminate half of the issue because it'll always be looking where I am. See, there is a little stiffness because I can feel the spring right up against this. And this is why I'm going to do my bearing trick. Because as you cock it, that spring is going to be compressed, and if it sits on the bearing, it'll eliminate some of the preload but still hold the pressure, if that's making sense to you. And that way the end of the spring isn't binding up either. This is a little tricky, and this is the only part, I guess, of Hatsan's design that I don't care for. They could have just done this a little better, and I'll explain that to you. If you have ever worked at a machine shop and have an understanding of this, you'll know what I mean. When a bit goes into a piece of steel and there's too much space, it will vibrate. And your fitting will vibrate and bounce around, and you will not have a clean cut. And that's what I think happens to this, because it's a solid block. I'm not even in focus. I apologize. I'm just... This is a solid block of aluminum. They must do this hole first, that hole second, and by the time they get up here, there's so much loose material that their tooling actually will chuck around inside and leave a horrible marking and gash, and it just won't be as precise. Not that this really matters, this is just holding the spring, but from a machining standpoint, okay, so this comes out. You'll see an inset right in there. Here's your spring. And I actually wish I had my flash apart too, just to measure. These are actually very sharp on the end. And I will take some sandpaper, almost like you're doing a Springer gun. You want to take it down, clean it up, and polish it. It will just slide much easier, even though I will be using the bearing method on this one. This is just personally me. I like it. The only problem is I won't be able to tell you guys how many turns out on my hammer spring I did to get that effect on whatever my gun does, because I will have 90 thousandths in there. Oh yeah. See, now that's just so much better. It's not even snagging. It was snagging on both my fingers. All right, so that's all cleaned up. Okay, to remove this handle, there is a set screw inside that has to be removed. I think 4 is way too big. It is. Oh, that was 4.5. My apologies. 4 is too big. And there we go. No, this is 2 millimeter. Of course, the one I need is missing. So, give me one quick second. Sorry about that. I need a bigger bench. I need a bigger everything. I need a bigger man cave. That's what I need. Alright, well, since I can't find one, I'm sure I have something to that size, and sure enough, and I believe this was Loctited in on my flash. Something someone else was talking about also was making a new handle. That is the only issue with this Flashpup that I'm still trying to get used to, and you have to be pretty damn flexible. You either have to take the gun down off your shoulder to cock it, or you have to pull your arm up right next to your cheek and cock this. So it does make it a little not so great, but I was actually thinking making a longer handle here to cock this with. Okay, anyways, that's all done and out. We will gently oh yeah, I do believe I have to take the trigger out first. That will just hang up, I believe. Yeah, I believe that'll just keep hanging up on the trigger. Yeah, gotta love Pyramid Air. Comes in handy. And what it does also is it just sends the pin into the foam so you don't lose it. Another useful little tidbit, I guess. I never have hammers though, for some odd reason. Let's see. There we go. Okay, wasn't planning on doing this all tonight, but gun's like brand new and I've hardly even used it. And usually I have a nice set of pliers here, but I do believe they are in the other room. Nope, I think I'm going to have to send those all the way through. Alrighty, I don't remember the flash giving me this much of an issue. And I found my other Allen wrench. And I guess it helps if I'm actually focused. Apologize. Alright, well, this was working pretty good, so... And just to let you know, there is a spacer for that spring, which I forgot to mention. I just add the other bearing on top of that one. All right, let me, excuse me for one second, maybe not. Got some vice grips here. These may do. Wow. Suckers really do not want to come out. All right, usually these things pop right out. I don't know what's going on here. I make adjustments. There's one. There's two. And those are stuck into there. Just have to gently rock this back and forth here. Yes, there are only two. There we go. Okay, so now the trigger's out. I'm going to put the trigger to the side. Kind of just needed to take a little of the pressure off. Okay, here's your hammer, which this is actually sliding in and out of. Very good. Okay, I do see a little aluminum on here. That was from me drilling. So that's why I said I'm going to just take all this apart anyways. Clean it, re-lube it, deburr it. I'm going to take any sharp edges off. And any rough edges. Like, see, this is pretty polished already. I might just polish it up just a little bit more. Just so it's so much smoother. I got a couple just sharp edges I just want to take a little bit off. Not really removing material. I'm just knocking down the corners, the edges, but I'm not really removing any material. Okay. All right. Here's all the pellet probe and arm shaft. Here we go. So this is how it comes out in case someone takes it apart and forgets how to put it back in. There you go. Okay, this one is so much smoother than my Flash. Wow. Okay, good quality on this one. I have to say my Flash was very rough and I wasn't thrilled about it, but this one is excellent. I mean, I'm going to be doing very little, no work inside here. Everything looks super clean. Everything is machined very well, which is, I'm glad. I mean, I take all this apart anyways, and I tune it up, but you still want to start off with something decent to begin with. So this may have been a later model when they got the machining down, but they definitely got it right on this one. So entry level, very impressive. I mean, I don't know how they can do that for this amount of price, seriously, but I know the difference between a high end and a lower end compared to this, but for what it is, it's pretty dang good. As far as tolerances and everything. Not great. I won't say great, but very, very good. And Q-tips come in handy also again. I usually buy a box full. I think the woman took them. Probably because I took hers. And there it goes. But I just like to run a Q-tip in here just to see if there's any sharp edges. Oh, here's another thing that I was talking about at one point. When you release the lever from here and just let it go, even I had this happen once, with no pellet in it, but it dry fired. The spring pushed it and actually activated. The hammer struck the tube and it did release air. And here is the spring to stop it from returning. I mean, to stop it from going forward. So the spring could be worn, broke. If you are experiencing this issue, your hammer adjustment could be over adjusted and it's just not enough force. If I do experience this, I might just put a little shim behind here and just to see what kind of effect that will have. But you don't want everything to bind up, so you do have to be careful about shimming stuff. All right, this is actually very good. I'm really not getting any sharp edges like I did my flash. So, and I know my flash was one of the first, close to the first set of refurbished rifles to be put out. So that could have been the very first model. All right, I'm going to end this here. I'm just going to go in, clean it up, re-lube, put everything back in except, where'd they go? I might as well check this while I'm here. Yep. All right. You can see how beautiful that spring sits on this bearing. And I will be putting this bearing in as a spacer. It just worked good for me. Yeah. Like I said, as you compress this, it will rotate. So I'm not going to say it's going to actually rotate on this, but I add a little grease, and now that I did polish the ends of the springs off, they shouldn't be getting hooked on anything and slide much easier. But I will be putting this bushing in. I liked it on my flash. I'm going to try it on the Flashpup. Okay, so until next video, I'm going to see if I can do trigger work, or I might just be antsy enough to get this all back together and do some testing. I got a few other things I just want to fine tweak. Nothing special. Like I said, I just wanted to do a little deburring on the hammer. Just go over everything, make sure everything's good. Before I reassemble this, I will clean this barrel. So I'll run some weed whacker line with a rag, and I just usually spray the rag with Rem oil. I'm not really having heavy deposits or anything in there, so I don't really need that. I just something to pull all the gunk out and get a little of that lead out, and then we'll go shooting again. But I just want to see what the power output's going to be and at what adjustment. So, all right, until next time, if I don't get to the trigger for the next video, then I will probably be doing testing. But I'll see about the trigger. This trigger actually on this was very good, and it actually got even better after I started using it. So I really don't need to touch the trigger at the moment. I think I'm just going to go with the power, and once I get to some serious shooting, if I really need to adjust the trigger for better accuracy and just better predictable trigger, then I will jump onto that, and I will do that also. This other spring I will actually, yeah, I'll polish this one up too, just a slight. Any sharp edges, it's going to spin in there. Maybe not a lot, but you just want that to be as smooth as possible. Okay. Hope this video helped. I hope the last video helped. And I don't know if you guys are more anxious to see the results or me. I'm not promising God-given miracles by doing this, but it will be an improvement. So, for an entry-level PCP, and I do absolutely love this, and I love my Flash, which the weather just has not been that good. So, I unfortunately have not even... Oh, this is my AT-44. My bad. I thought it was my Flash right next to me. And that one actually is put away. But I actually just have not had any good chances of shooting outside. 30-degree weather, rain, hail, sleet, snow, blah, blah. So, anyways, until next time, I'm just blabbering on right now. Thank you guys for watching. Thank you for my subscribers. And I really do hope this helps any beginners out. And if the results are good, then you'll know what to do to accomplish the same thing. So until next time, I wish you farewell and good shooting.